I'm Lucy.
I'm Batman.
This is Tamoor who's saying this is not Batman. But I've seen Batman vs Superman.
I have not, so I have some questions for you.
But I'm going to keep this spoiler-free for you and for everyone at home. So I'm going to try and answer them as best I can, avoiding big spoilers. Although the trailer has literally spoiled pretty much every major plot point in that film.
Yeah. So I think the best starting point is general overview. How did you feel coming away from it? Were you happy with what you saw? Were you confused, or were you like, why have you done this to me, Zack Snyder?
I'm not right. This is no word of a lie. I genuinely lay awake for a really long time last night, just thinking about what I've seen.
In a bad way or in a good way?
No, that's the thing. Like, I still can't make up my mind about it because you've got to commend Zack Snyder because he had a lot of stuff to put in that. You cannot fault him for being ambitious because that is a really ambitious movie. But the thing is, the plot, I think as well, the film sort of suffers from deleted scene-itis in that, like, it jumps around a bit and things are just introduced and characters are just introduced and you're a bit like, what's going on? Okay. So it feels definitely like there's some deleted scenes, and I think there already is going to be like a director's cut.
Yeah.
Snyder loves his director's cut.
It's an extra 30 minutes, which does seem to indicate a lot of it has been deleted.
That explains a lot. Some of it, right? When you're watching the film, there are genuine glimmers of hope that this will be like the gritty, dark DC titans coming together that we've all wanted, and it's going to be great. But I think, and this is a weird analogy, but you have to hear me out. It kind of suffers from the same problems as Jupiter Ascending did. In that, Jupiter Ascending is a film where really stupid things happen, but all the cast of characters come at it with like this really po-faced, morality-based stance, and they try and make it really serious, whereas if they just had fun with it, it would have been a very, very different movie.
Right.
And I think that's very similar in Batman vs Superman in that it's really serious and then stupid things happen, but everyone still is keeping really, really serious and just like everything is so macho and so po-faced that it's very difficult to take it, like as a viewer, it's very difficult to sort of like appreciate it.
Right. I guess a lot of people would argue that the DC universe is a lot darker than the alternative ones that are out there. And what Warner and DC are trying to do is present something different from Marvel. Marvel's movies are light and quite fun, and colourful, whereas DC are trying to corner the market on gritty and grim. Does it achieve that, or has it gone a bit too dark with Superman and Batman?
So like the whole film, like the atmosphere is dark, it's gritty, it's like a ruined metropolis, it's the crime-filled Gotham, it's very dark. The way that Batman and now Superman are both these really dark characters, like that works, but also there's just some weird moments where, like, if it happened in any other movie, it would be a comedy.
Right, okay.
Like, and I mean, one of these has been spoiled in the trailer, but I'm not going to spoil it here. Like, the final third of the movie just borders into absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. You mentioned Gotham and Metropolis. I think a lot of people, what they're going to want to know is what's the balance between Batman and Superman like? Because obviously people go in there liking one or liking the other. You know, not many people go in there wanting both characters, but how well does the movie strike a balance between those two characters and their alter egos, Clark and Bruce? I
think, like, in terms of screen time, it's really evenly split. But I also think it's incredibly clear that Zack Snyder just wanted to make a Batman movie.
Okay.
Which is why we see his origin story again. So, you know, if you don't know how Batman started, you will now. Again. So obviously, Superman had Man of Steel as his like origin story. Movie reboot again.
How important is it to watch that movie?
Watch that movie.
Watch it and forget it as quickly as
Yeah,
possible.
I mean, like, slog your way through that movie. But I think it is very key because a lot of characters and plot points from Man of Steel do surface in
the tornado comes back to kill the rest of...
Oh, God. Batman does get, like, the better part of the story, but you see this Batman who's just, like, beleaguered after years of fighting crime in Gotham, and he's really not impressed with the way that Superman just sort of swoops in and does whatever he wants. But the thing is, the one big worldwide event that turns everyone against Superman is quite bizarre, and you really have to pay attention to it, because I was just watching it, I thought it was just a sort of Superman swoop in and swoop out thing. It turns out that's like the big key moment.
Does he put his eggs in the fridge instead of the cupboard?
He put, oh God, I hate people who do that.
Okay, that's those two characters covered, but there's one more.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wonder Woman is a huge part of this.
She's great.
Is she a huge part of this, or is she just in there to be like, hey, we've got another movie coming, it's going to have a bunch of other superheroes in it, this is our connection to it, or does she have an important role in the movie, and how well is she kind of laid across that?
She is a great character, and so she actually spends a lot of the movie not in costume at all.
Okay.
So it's her alter ego. She was great, and I really enjoyed her. I am genuinely excited, and Gal Gadot did a really great job with her. But speaking of Justice League as well, don't worry, the seeds are sown. It doesn't seem to be a post-credit sequence, but it's a slap bang in the middle of the movie.
Okay. It seems like what a lot of people are saying is it's kind of like a middling movie, but it's kind of held up by Ben Affleck as Batman and Wonder Woman's appearance. Kind of like a shallow film. Is that fair to say?
I think shallow's unfair because they do try and do a lot. Ben Affleck is really great. I think when you do need to take some time out to say that Ben Affleck is a really great Batman and a really great Bruce Wayne. I wasn't really convinced about Batfleck when he first got cast, but I'm a convert now. I think a lot of the characters there, again, it's the deleted scene stuff, because some of Lex Luthor's motivations are quite confusing and they just don't seem to have any. He's just sort of there to mess things up a little bit.
Right.
He's sort of taking like a Joker stance where he just wants to watch the world burn. I'm genuinely convinced that one of his first words in the movie are ahoy hoy. So he does like the full Monty Burns.
We've got some questions from Twitter for you.
Yeah.
Will Turner asks, how would you rank Batfleck in the pantheon of Batmen's?
The Bat hierarchy.
Yeah.
So my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. I think it's like the Bond thing, like you love the Batman that you grew up with. So I grew up with Michael Keaton. I would say he's an easy second. Yeah, I genuinely thought his performance was great. I preferred it to Bale, but I thought he did a really great job.
Kevin Conroy is the best Batman.
Trick question. Yeah, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, that was a trick question. Raul Arias, great name, says, the critics are being very harsh. They are destroying this movie, but fans seem to love it. I'm not sure what fans Raul is referencing. How would you describe it? Do you think it's fair that critics are destroying it? Is the treatment it's getting amongst critics warranted?
If you come at it as a film and completely ignore the comic backstory, then you will not enjoy it, because with comics you have that knowledge of the extended lore, the universe that it's set in, and you know that like these fantastical things can happen. If you come at it expecting a really great, well put together movie that completely makes sense and is coherent throughout,
sorry.
soz. I think for DC fans there is always going to be something in there.
Jose Maria Quiros asks, is there too much CGI destroying city all over the place, or is there some actual character development that isn't cringy?
Yeah, there's a lot of city destroying.
Okay.
A lot of like a couple of real big fights. In terms of character development that isn't cringy, there's no more goofy Clark Kent, no more like Smallville farm boy. Which I find quite disturbing because I grew up on like the Adventures of Lois and Clark.
Yes.
So he's a super po-face throughout the whole thing. Batman, you expect that. Alfred's great. I think Jeremy Irons did a great job as Alfred. He has the kind of dry, sardonic wit of Alfred. Lois Lane,
Not so much.
she did the best with what she had.
Final question comes from Manwy. You kind of discussed it earlier, but just going back to it, does the movie feel like it's overstuffed with characters?
I think if you just kept it like an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns, it would have been great. Obviously, I understand they have to plant the seeds for the Justice League. It's a shame because there's a lot going for this movie, and then it's too many cooks, I think.
I'm sad to hear that it's not great, but as long as Batman hits the right notes, I'm cool with that.
So as I mentioned, I'm going to do a spoiler cast with Luke Westaway. If you've got any more questions that can veer into spoiler territory, let me know, because we're going to be ripping through them. And for more on Batman vs Superman, make sure you keep your eyes peeled to GameSpot.com.